something so special that even for a moment or two it will bring pride and joy to those we care about and to ourselves. As Jack Severson reports, Harold Lickey has done a little better than just a moment or two of pride and joy. It was 23 years ago that Harold Lickey decided to give his small town something it was missing. We'll give you a hint. Harold Lickey is a music man.
As you can tell, Marshall, Missouri is not the center of the cultural universe. It's a small town in the middle of Middle America, almost halfway between the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. But if you're not into baseball, it's okay. There's always the Marshall Philharmonic Orchestra. Truth is, there probably would be no Marshall Philharmonic if it weren't for Harold Lickey. He's been needling this orchestra on for almost 23 years.
Well, music has been my dedication, there's no question about it.
And he is no doubt proud that Marshall, Missouri is the smallest town in America to have its own Philharmonic. Around here, they sometimes call him Mr. Music. What do I call you, Mr. Lickey or Maestro?
No, I don't go with the name of Maestro. Sometimes they just call me Harold. And in fact, sometimes in school they call me Mr. Lickey, but that's what they used to call my father, you know. I like Harold.
I could never bring myself to call him Harold. He will always be Mr. Lickey, the watch fixer who pieced together a Philharmonic orchestra.
Well, you've got 75 to 100 pieces in a watch. You've got 50 to 75 pieces in an orchestra. All of them have a playing his own, doing his own thing. You have to get them going together. It doesn't function very well. There's somebody holding over past the rest of them. Stop right with the rest of them.
This is the first practice of the season, and it doesn't function very well at all. But this is a people's orchestra, the butcher and the baker and the security guard. Anybody who can play anything, as long as they can learn.
At the present stage, the competition is not too keen. We kind of beat the bushes to get players. We're glad to get anybody that can play respectably.
Take John Emerson, trombone player, retired goat farmer. John says he has only two vices.
The goats, milk goats, and music. And that's all the vices I have. And I don't have time to run women.
John is 75, but Mr. Lickey still calls him boy.
He's a likable boy, and his trombone playing is, well, it's bound to develop some in 60 years.
Back at the goat farm, John admits he might have missed a note here and there.
You know, I tell you, when you get my age, mistakes, I've made a fool of myself so many times. Just one more time, it's not threatening to me at all. So, you don't let things like that bother you. You just go on and do the best you can. That's the way it is. It's just well life.
It doesn't come easy. Mr. Lickey works the orchestra so hard, the players seem convinced that Marshall is New York. So this must be Carnegie Hall.
Chris! Much better.
At 11 years old, Connie Bake is the youngest player of all.
All summer, I really wanted to be in the Philharmonic, so I kept practicing and practicing so I'd be good enough. And just, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, he told my mother I could be in it. He's always patient, and when you just can't get a part, he works it out on the piano for you, and he works out the fingering for you, and the way he cares so much.
It's Sunday morning, and Mr. Lickey and his wife Viva quietly agree as a Methodist minister talks about how nice talent is, but how much better it is to have commitment.
I am led to believe, and I am convinced that commitment is always worth more than talent.
Now, sing it.
His music selection is not always purely classical. He figures that sometimes people need to hear a melody they can hang on to. He has wondered what it would be like to conduct a big-name, big-city orchestra.
Well, it'll probably be a real thrill. But I tell you, it surely makes conducting a lot easier. You get a bunch of professional quality players out there, and all you've got to do is just stand up there and they go. But you take a bunch of kids, and they're struggling even to do the notes.
Ray Blizzard is not a kid anymore, but Mr. Lickey taught him how to play the violin when he was only 13.
He's a slave driver. He makes us really go after it. I mean, it's just got to be a little better.
He was not a fast learner, but he was always there, always trying, and he loved it. And that's the one thing I think that has probably done more to enrich his life than anything he's ever done.
Ray is a night watchman at a local meat plant, and there's no doubt about it, the orchestra and Mr. Lickey mean more to him than almost anything else.
Well, he's been kind of like an uncle to me in a lot of ways. He's very concerned. He wants the best for me. He's told me that. He said, Ray, I want the best for you. He said that I pray for you.
I've had the impression that through the music and through the Philharmonic and you, it's enriched their lives in ways that they would have never thought of.
Well, that may be true, and I think that the opposite is true. I think that may be the secret of it, that they were enriching me an awful lot. And it's kind of like a tennis game. I give to them and they give back.
Sandra Geralt's life has been enriched beyond measure.
I never dreamed that I would be in it. You know, it's just something I thought, well, the rich people do, you know.
Rich she is not in things money can buy. She ekes out a living piecing together leather boots on an assembly line. And she borrows a bass fiddle to play in the orchestra.
To me, it's satisfaction. And to my family, I think it brings honor to them, you know. And to the community, I think they're honored to have us, or else they wouldn't have had us this long. They would have got rid of us before this.
After rehearsing and rehearsing, the 23rd season of the Marshall Philharmonic is ready to begin. This is not the most important day in Marshall, but there is always an air of excitement. During one of these concerts, the violinist's beeper went off. He was a town obstetrician, dashed out and delivered a healthy baby, came back after the intermission, and nobody even suspected what had happened. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the season premiere of the Marshall Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Maestro Harold Lickey. worry? Do you wonder about what happens when you're gone?
A little, yeah. I hope to remember it even in my will.
The orchestra.
Yeah.
I gotta feel they're gonna remember you too, you know?
Harold Lickey has had the talent and the time to inspire generations of his friends and neighbors.